आवाज आ रही है अभी? हेलो,
जी सर आ रही है आवाज।
चलें ठीक है बेटा। टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम था बेटा, बार बार आ रहा है। फ्रेंडली विद
जी सही।
रिस्पोंडेंट्स, friendly relationship between researcher and respondent plays a vital role in research activity, which means that the researcher should be friendly with the respondent in order to get proper and correct information relevant to the problem.
सर हमें यहाँ से समझ नहीं आई थी। वो लेडी वो थे जो साइकोलॉजिस्ट थी, वहां से समझ में नहीं आया था सर, क्योंकि नेट का मसला था।
कहाँ पे? वो तो मैंने डेफिनेशन से किया है। ये
वो
तो बेटा
साइकोलॉजिस्ट थी वो।
हाँ, तो ये तो अभी मैं दोबारा उसी लेक्चर को रिपीट कर रहा हूँ। बार बार तो बेटा नहीं रिपीट कर सकता। आप ऐसे करें, किसी और से आप कवर अप कर लें। ठीक है बेटा? हेलो
जी सर
जी
कंटिन्यू
सर,
करें
जी
आप।
सर।
चलें ठीक है। Good conversation. For a good research activity, it is necessary that a researcher should be good in conversation with the respondent. बेटा मैं तो बहुत सिंपल लैंग्वेज में कह रहा हूं। Now, more analytical. A researcher should be more analytical. A researcher is always different from the rest of the people in the society. This is generally a general saying that he is different. He will have more analytic power to compare to other. On the basis of this quality, I'm going very slow. On the basis of this quality, he will see the real situation of the problem. Clear? Now, if this is a research, if these are the features of the research, if these are the motives of the research, if that is the classification of the research, then what are the different types of research? From here, my new lecture starts. So far, I was just revising with you because most of the students were upset in a sense that they said it was not clear to them. So now from here, my new lecture starts, and that is types of research. Now, research can be divided according to different purpose and methods and problems. Now, number one, if we take method into consideration, that is according to method, research can be historical research, can be descriptive research, can be ex post facto research, can be experimental research, can be field study. Don't worry, I'm going in detail after explaining it there. So if we take method into consideration, research can be historical, as the name says, through the history, through the background. Descriptive means no scientific, not scientific. Expo, based on the past information. Experimental, where the laboratory work is done. Or the field study, where you try to collect the data from the field. Now, if we go for the purpose, now in economics, we generally take all these types, but the purpose is the most important. So according to purpose, pure research, number one. Number two, applied research. Number three, action research. Number four, evaluation research. Evaluation research. Number five, interdisciplinary research. I'll repeat it again. If purpose is the objective, and on the basis of objective, we are interested in finding a research, so we are going to look into different types. Number one, it is a pure research. That is theoretical, in other words. Number two, applied research. Number three, action research. Number four, evaluation research. Number five, interdisciplinary research. So I have given you according to the method, according to the purpose. The purpose is the most important, although all, as I said again and again, I'll say all of the research, types of research are important in economics, but generally we go for the purpose. Now, number third, according to the nature of the problem. Now, according to the nature of the problem, you must be knowing either it should be qualitative research, that is theoretical research, or it should be quantitative research, that is, it should be scientific research. Right. Now I'll go in detail. On the basis of the method, the first one we said was historical research. Historical research basically is the critical examination of past event in order to borrow truth is known as historical research. That is the research which is based on the past events. Clear? The report of this type of research is generally narrative, descriptive. Number two, descriptive research. Descriptive research, this is a theoretical study. Descriptive, as the name says, descriptive. That is, we describe, theoretical. When a researcher identifies a problem, he writes an article about the causes and solution of the problem. Descriptive research is not analytical study. That is, he writes, he takes into consideration the cause and solution of the problem, but he does not scientifically prove it, that it is not analytical. It is dependent on, or it depends on the view and ideas of the researcher. This is a primary phase of investigation for experimental and empirical study. Next, ex post facto research, EX-POST-FACTO, ex post facto research, although it is written as ex post facto research. This type of research is a studying the past influences of two identical factors. The influence is either the cause-effect relationship or the effect-cause relationship. The causal relationship, that is cause and effect, or effect and cause. That is, we try to find out the cause and effect relationship. This is the cause and this will be the effect. Or if this is the effect, this will be the cause. There will be two variables, the dependent variable and independent variable. By now, you must be knowing what is a dependent variable, independent variable. Independent variable is a variable on which a particular other variable depends. That is, demand is a function of price. Now, demand is a dependent variable and price is independent variable. That was just a simple, very simple example. This study will always be based on past knowledge. If we want to see the impact of English and Urdu education in future, let's take up an example. If we want to see the impact of English and Urdu education in future, a careful study of past events and facts is required. In this method, the present situation is traced back to the early situation factors. Next, experimental research, as the name terms, experiment. So experimental research is considered to be a scientific method. It involves procedure. It involves procedure for gaining knowledge by collecting new or fresh observation under controlled condition. That is, careful observation and immediate correct recording of data are the activities of this research. And what are those? The types then? One is a laboratory research or the other one is a field experiment research. Either you do a work in a laboratory and do a research, or you try to do the field experiment. The next one, field study. Now, field study, as the name says, that you go to the field and try to collect information. So in this study, the researcher selects the subject and measures their behavior. Clear? In this study, the researcher selects the subject and measures their behavior. Clear? A field researcher needs to be administrator and enter presence as well as investigator due to the feasibility, cost, and time distribution in the field research. Now we come to the very important portion of it, and that is said to be according to the purpose. Now, according to the purpose, number one, it should be pure research. Now, pure research means it provides basic knowledge to the research activity. Most exploring studies are at descriptive level, and they simply record what is observed without formal testing the hypothesis. What is a hypothesis? The other day I explained also in my last lecture. Hypothesis is simply a supposition, a proposition, or an assumption. Assumption we make, supposition we make, presumption we make. There are a lot of assumption and presumption which we make in economic theory, like regarding demand, supply, production, and so on. So the basic features of pure research can be, number one, it provides initial foundation to study. I'll repeat, it provides initial foundation to study. Number two, it is discovering new facts without verification. Number two, it is discovering new facts without verification. Number three, it provides definitions to the subject. It serves as a guiding course of action. It's a big long, so I'll repeat it again. It provides definition of a subject. It serves as guiding course of action. And the last feature is it provides alternative solutions to social problems. So pure research simply says a research which is done at descriptive level. And when we do a research at a descriptive level, the basic thing which we do is simply record what is observed without testing a hypothesis. Clear? Number two, applied research. In applied research, the problem is identified and the results are expected to be applicable. I'll repeat again. In applied research, the problem is identified, clear, and the results are expected to be applicable in the improvement of the practice or solution to a problem producing material gain. So similar to the pure research, applied research do also have certain characteristics, generally termed as a feature. In some books, it has been termed as a feature, and sometimes it has been termed as a characteristic, which I have said in the beginning, the characteristics or a feature of a good research. So you can term it as a characteristic or you can term it as a feature. So if we look at the characteristics, it can be outlined as number one, it verifies and tests theory. It verifies and tests theory. Number two, it discovers new facts. बेटा ये देखें ये क्या आ रहा है, ठीक है, right. Number 2, it discovers new facts. Number 3, it concerns with causal relationship of social event. What is a causal relationship? That is a cause and effect of a particular thing. That is, what were the cause of a particular problem and what are its effects? Clear? So causal relationship, we say cause-effect relationship in other words. Next, it provides immediate answers to a question. Next, it goes from general to particular and vice versa. And vice versa. In some books, it has been termed as and the reverse. That is particular to general and general to particular. Next, it is welfare oriented. Applied research is a welfare oriented research. Number 3, the third type of a research, that is action research. Now, action research can be described as it is the study undertaken with the goal of immediate application. I'll repeat again. It is the study undertaken with the goal of immediate application. In this type of research, the researcher appears as particular observer and activity involved in the results and their application. In other words, we can simply say action research is a mean of solving immediate local problem. Some people call it immediate, some people call it immediate. So whatever you term it as, immediate or immediate problem, right? So the features similar to the others for action research. Number 1, action research helps in decision making. Action research helps in decision making. Number 2, it increases the fund of knowledge. That is, it increases the fund. Fund means it tries to increase knowledge. It gives a push to the knowledge. It adds towards the knowledge. Number 3, it helps in implementing finding into practice. And the last one is it brings experimental outlook. I think this was a bit difficult. I'll repeat again. Number 3 was action research. What is an action research? Action research is a research which we do in order to take immediate action. So any sort of problem which required immediate solution will be under the study of action research. Or in other words, the researcher appears as participant observer and actively involved in the results and their applications. If this is what action research is, then what are the characteristics or what are the basic features? Number 1, action research helps in decision making. Number 2, it increases the fund of knowledge. It increases the fund of knowledge. Number 3, it helps in implementing finding into practice. That is, whatever you have found out, you try to put it in practice. That's why it has been termed as action, that you put that work in action. Next, it brings experimental outlook. Clear? Number 4, evaluation research. As the name says, evaluation research means, or it aims at evaluating programs that have been implemented to get the objective. So what are the 3 types of evaluation? Naturally, there are 3 basic types. Number 1, concurrent evaluation. What is concurrent evaluation? In some books, it has been termed as a continuous process. Concurrent evaluation or continuous process. Number 2, basic or periodic evaluation. Basic or periodic, or in other words, we can say stage-wise, step-wise, stage-wise. Clear? Number 3, terminal evaluation. That is evaluation after the completion of the program. So I'll repeat this again. This is a bit new for you. I'll say evaluation research. Evaluation research aims at evaluating programs that has been implemented to get an objective. Now, evaluations can be of different types. Broadly speaking, it can be classified under 3 broad heads. Number 1, concurrent evaluation. Concurrent means continuous, going on without any stop, without any break. Number 2, basic or periodic evaluation. Now, what is a basic or periodic? As the name says, periodic means stage-wise, means step-wise, after certain period. Say after one research is being done, say in the year 1, the other, again, the same problem is being undertaken in year 3 or 4 or so on. And that problem is being divided into different stages. Number 3, terminal evaluation. Terminal evaluation means evaluation after the completion of the program. Clear? Next type of research, interdisciplinary research. Look, interdisciplinary research. Economics is a discipline, history is a discipline, political science is a discipline, statistics is a discipline, and so on. So it is the interdisciplinary, interrelationship between the different disciplines. That's why it is being termed as interdisciplinary relationship. Now, in this type of a research, structure and functions of a particular discipline or comparison of one discipline with the other. In other words, or very broadly or roughly speaking, it can be termed as coordinated research. Coordinated research, that is economics with political science with statistics, or so on. But generally economics goes with the statistics or mathematics. That's why we do econometrics and so on. So it is a interdisciplinary. The relationship is found out through the different disciplines. Next, according to the nature of the problem. Now, if we say according to the nature of the problem, it can be broadly classified into 2 categories. One is qualitative research. Qualitative research basically is a theoretical research, and the other is quantitative research. Quantitative research is a scientific research. For example, qualitative research may be a policy-oriented research, but quantitative research can also be a policy-oriented research. But in quantitative research, we try to use statistical economics or mathematical economics, very broadly speaking. So it can be qualitative, that is theoretical, or it can be quantitative, that is, it can be mathematical or statistical. So according to the nature of the problem, we say it can be of 2 types. Now, so far what we have done tells us that research is not an easy task. Research is not an easy task. Whenever you try to solve a problem, you are going to face with certain difficulties. Number 1, lack of good investigators, that you may not be able to find out good investigators. Number 2, dependence on others. Number 3, lack of committed researchers. Number 4, complex nature of the problem. Now, what is a complex nature of the problem? It simply says that the nature of the problem is so complex that every researcher cannot study it. Complex, the nature is very complex, it's very complicated, it's very difficult to understand. Next, difficulty of problem formulation. Sometimes it is very difficult to formulate it in a form of a problem. That is, the first phase of research is problem identification or formulation, but it is a very difficult to formulate a research problem. Why? Because whenever you are faced with a problem, whenever you are faced with certain situation or you are not satisfied, naturally it says you are facing a problem, and that problem needs investigation. And for that purpose, we try to do certain research. The next one is that if we are going to investigate a problem, naturally we are going to formulate a hypothesis. Hypothesis is assumption. As I said before, it is presumption. It can be termed as supposition. Hypothesis means, for example, we say that COVID-19 depends on, COVID-19 has got a relationship with, then we put this hypothesis to a test and see whether it is fact or not, or simply saying demand is a function of price, or law of demand. You take a law of demand, but we make an assumption. Assumption is that other things remaining the same, ceteris paribus. So hypothesis is simply the formulation of supposition. Suppose this situation takes place. Suppose this is the condition. And for that purpose, then we try to find out theoretically, if you are looking for an economics justification, so naturally we go for economics, that what does economics says about it. And when we try to investigate it, we see that if economics says that there is a positive relationship and we get the positive relationship, fine. If economics says there is a positive relationship, but the result we get is negative, so we have to verify why we got the negative situation in this case. Then the next thing is difficulty of designing the study. That how do you design a study? The next one is the least knowledge of the concepts and terminologies. That is, whenever you are going to investigate, so naturally the thing you are looking after the different concepts and the terminologies which we are going to use in that. For example, in economics, we say other things remaining the same. So naturally you have to see that what does other things remaining the same mean? Why we make ceteris paribus assumption. So that's why we say the concept and terminologies. So in order to solve a problem, we try to use different methods. Maybe an interview method in combination with a questionnaire, interview method in combination with a observation, historical method, theoretical method, or any other method. So that the next thing is that we try to, when we try to collect the information, there are different forms. And one of the basic thing is that you can try to collect the information through the formulation of a questionnaire. That is the types of the questions you are going to formulate so as to answer a particular situation. That's why we say questionnaire. Then we go for collecting information. After data comes in, everything comes in, the next step is we do the data analysis. Data analysis, that is whatever information is being collected, whatever data has been collected, broadly speaking, data can also be termed as information. So whatever data has been collected, whatever information has been collected, that has to be analyzed. And the last one, or another one, is that whenever we are going to do a social research, we do a research for the purpose of investigation. And in order to investigate, we try to find out a solution to the problems. Whenever we try to find out the solution of the problem, naturally in the end, we try to write a report on it. That this was a problem, this was the reason of a problem, and this is how the problem is solved, and this is the conclusion which we got. The next thing is that whenever we go for a research, we are faced with certain constraints, with certain limitations, maybe economic limitation, or broadly speaking, it can be termed as economic constraints. Next is shortage of time, financial constraint, transport and communication, accommodation, food and recreation, political instability, cultural differences, or in other words, environmental differences. Maybe you are conducting a research in an area where the language is different. So language differences is also a problem. Religious differences is also a problem. Clear so far? Now, if we are facing so many problems, and if we can get the output, what is the importance? What is the significance? What is the utility of a social research? Broadly speaking, there are about 9-10 different utility or importance or the scope. Number one, source of knowledge. Social research is a big source of knowledge. Clear? Number two, solution of social problems. That is, the social problem, there will be a research activity. When there is a social problem, there will be a research activity. Next, social planning. Social planning is said to be the prerequisite of development. If we want to develop and bring social growth in society, social planning will be developed with which is the outcome of social research. Structural changes. Can anyone tell me what do we mean by structural changes? Faizan? Faizan, are you there? Alina?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Faizan, what do we mean by structural changes?
सर स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस वो होता है जो स्ट्रक्चर में चेंज आता है जो फिजिकल
नहीं बेटा, नहीं बेटा. Aline, what is a structural change?
सर पता नहीं.
अभी
सर,
तक
मैंने
जितना
तो ऐसे
मैंने
guess
कहा है
कर लिया।
समझ आ रही है कि नहीं? क्यों चुप हो
सर
गए?
आ रही है।
अच्छा बेटा, अच्छा बेटा. नहीं भी आ रही कोई फिक्र नहीं करें, आप बार बार पूछ सकते हैं मुझसे, आप बार बार पूछ सकते हैं, ठीक है? स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस का क्या मतलब है? जी बेटा. Structural changes mean social research is also responsible to bring structural changes needed by the society. Thus, the process and procedure which leads to structural changes in society are provided by social research. I'll repeat again, क्योंकि मुझे जवाब नहीं मिला. Social research लिख सकते हैं. Social research is also responsible for bringing structural changes needed by the society. Thus, the process and procedure which leads to structural changes in society are provided by social research. You should not worry about this. I'm going to give you the handout when I finish up with this chapter. But you have to be very careful because there are a lot of mistakes, spelling mistakes और English की भी गलतियां हैं. तो आपने खुद देखना है कि कौन सी चीज का क्या मतलब है. जब मैं ये चैप्टर खत्म कर दूंगा तो इंशाल्लाह मैं इसका आपको प्रिंट आउट दे दूंगा, किसी को दे दूंगा या राबिया को दे दूंगा, तो राबिया आगे सर्कुलेट कर देंगी. ठीक है बेटा, you shouldn't worry about that. Social welfare.
Thank you.
Social evil can be removed through social research. Social research enable us to find out the magnitude and the real cause of evil, the problem. Evil से मेरा मतलब problem, and help to devise ways to remove these problems. Next, social prediction. Next, social control. Social unity, social growth, and new techniques. I think this is enough for today. And again, I'll say, don't worry. When I finish up with this chapter, the person who is sitting with me, I'm going to give her a picture, to take a picture out of it. But one thing, beta, I'm going to repeatedly say that the book has got a lot of English sentences mistake and spelling mistakes. ये ना हो कि वही words आप use करने. जैसे for example यहाँ पे लिखा गया, it open new ways of knowledge and wisdom when unknown thing is brown to the researcher. It should not be a brown, it should be known to the researcher. हमारा तो background है तो हमें पता लग जाता है कि यहाँ पे ये गलती है, लेकिन मैं आपको इसका प्रिंट आउट वो दे दूंगा, पिक्चर दे दूंगा. जहां पे आपको नहीं समझ आएगी तो आप मुझसे टाइम फिक्स कर लें. I'll come and I'll explain it to you and I'll correct it again. Now, if there are any questions, please do ask. This is enough for today.
सर ये क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च में प्योरली जो मतलब थ्योरी होती है या इसमें कोई जजमेंट वगैरह या कोई
नहीं,
और चीज भी होती है?
इसमें बेटा क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च में ये होता है कि बेसिकली इट इज अ प्योरली अ रिसर्च वर्क, अ थ्योरेटिकल वर्क. थ्योरेटिकल वर्क में से ये मतलब है कि आप डेटा फाइंड आउट कर लेते हैं, आप इंफॉर्मेशन फाइंड आउट कर लेते हैं और आप उस पर राइट अप